Let's do it. Yay! So welcome everybody to the QB App Hour. We're super excited that you guys can join us today. And I'm super excited because we have a special open mic session with James Griner, who has a practice, and he works very closely with our sponsor today, which is Housecall Pro. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we will get this Appy Hour started. All right, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Awesome.
Good.
So we're going to be talking about working with companies that have field service today, and James is going to walk us through some of his best practices and things that he has learned along the way. And then we're going to get an inside look at Housecall Pro from Jil, who will be joining us shortly. So for those of you that haven't joined the show before, welcome. We're so glad you're here. My name's Heather Satterley. I have a practice, Satterley Training and Consulting, which is located in Portsmouth, and I work with companies and accountants and anybody who's looking to work with QuickBooks Online and third-party integrated apps. So apps are my first love. I love tinkering. I love finding out. I feel like apps are like our little magic wand to move data and do the way, get things where they need to be in our general ledger so they're beautiful. So super excited to be on the Appy Hour. And Liz, can you introduce yourself?
Yes. So I'm Liz Scott, and I'm from Oklahoma. And the thing that our firm focuses on is integrations. So years ago, we used to do all things. Now we just really focus on QuickBooks and then the integrations that go along with QuickBooks. And the thing that I feel like we're all becoming is technology experts. So which technology do you recommend? How do you connect the technology? How do you make sure that you maintain the accounting integrity? Technology and integrity. I was trying to merge those into one word, and I don't know. So,
and I love you for that, because we do that all the time.
Create new words. Well, and I got in Oklahoma because the thing that happened was I was in the room and I was talking to all of the people in the classroom inside of Texas, because that's where I'm at right now doing the advanced cert training. And I had all of these people hand me cards, and what they wanted to do was they wanted to learn more about the Appy Hour. They wanted to learn more about getting together and networking with each other, because this is a big conversation for so many of us, is app integrations. So I love it that we're all together. I really do. It's always relevant.
Me too. It's so good. We have James Griner with us, and James, you're a huge fan of apps too. It's a big part of your practice.
Absolutely. I mean, QuickBooks Online and any apps that you can get in there really helps increase the functionality for my clients, and finding that right app for them and helping them find the right app for themselves is really a fun thing for me, just as I'm sure it is with y'all.
It is. It's so fun. And we are so happy to have you on the show today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us and share your knowledge with us and with our viewers.
Not a problem at all. I'm happy to be here and was glad that I was invited to be here.
Awesome.
Hi, Jill.
Jill's just joined us from Housecall Pro, so welcome.
Well, okay, so in just a second, we're going to let James introduce himself, because I can't wait for him to tell us where he's from.
I know, me too. So thank you to this month's sponsor. Let's just jump right in. So our agenda today is we're going to welcome everybody, which we just did. Then we're going to hear from James, and then we're going to raise a toast, which I'm so excited because I have my drink right here and I can't wait to try it. And then we're going to talk about our coolest thing, and then we're going to talk about next episode. So without further ado, James, could you please tell us about yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm from Thomasville, Georgia. It's a small little town in South Georgia, just above Tallahassee, Florida. So most people have no earthly clue where I am from, to be honest. And I've actually been full-time kind of doing accounting and field service stuff, specifically in the field service area for about 6 years. But I actually got started when I was 12 years old, when I was actually working with two of my uncles and my father, because they owned a landscape company and a HVAC company and a power washing company. So I was actually working with them when I was still way underage and doing the accounting and helping them there. So I actually started learning a lot before that. And I just kind of started taking this on more and more as I got through college and saw how much it could be beneficial to those even outside of my family. So I have a lot of heart into this with my field service guys, and that's where I really focus in the field service and home service pro industry because it is near and dear to me. I actually opened my company myself about 2 years ago, full time, and my team and I just focus on providing efficient bookkeeping for our clients, but really that modern bookkeeping with that app integration and everything, which is how I came across Housecall Pro and ended up working with them and getting so close with them. And it's always nice to have kind of that problem solving thing going on because there's always a problem, and sharing that insight with people from different industries.
And you're so right, James. I mean, having a good partner for your business, like you have with Housecall Pro, and we have with, really app vendors, really helps us to do our job better. And what I love is I love the relationship because they take our feedback, right? As we're using these apps with our clients and we're kind of discovering things that maybe might make the product better, they're so receptive to it. And we become this amazing team that is able to work together to make the process and make the application so much better for our clients and for us.
Absolutely, because they're wanting to hear from us, because while their clients are using it on a day in basis, they don't understand that accounting aspect of it and how it works with QuickBooks and what we're doing in QuickBooks. So when we're able to get them feedback and work with them there on how it's working with QuickBooks and how we can improve that integration, that's where it really comes in. And I think that's the big part with these relationships that we have. And Jil and the team at Housecall Pro have been very receptive to that and asking for feedback and what can we do to make that app better, which a lot of the apps out there do and several of them don't. But finding those good relationships, as you said, Heather, that's where it's nice and it makes it worthwhile for us.
I agree. And this is kind of a fun thing that we've been doing on Appy Hour, where we bring in people like yourself who are actually using the app to be able to say, here's my side of it. Here's how I'm using it. Here's what I've experienced. And I actually love that Housecall Pro wanted to do that. And I love that Jill's here too. But the thing that I think is really honest about that is then you get to see, how do you use it? How does it work for you? And that's really the best way for us as accountants and bookkeepers to learn how to use it for our clients. So thanks for being here, James. We really appreciate it.
We do. And I could not agree more, Liz. So what I'm going to do, excuse the ice machine in the back, is I'm going to grab James and just tell me when you want me to advance the slide. Okay?
So if you want to go on to the next slide, Heather, that would be great. So when we're working kind of in the field service and home service industry, let me kind of start with explaining what a little bit of that is and kind of what we're looking at doing. And a lot of our field service apps, we're looking for, or just our field service people in general, we're looking for something to help them with their customer management. And you've got things out there like Constant Contact, and you've got things out there like Google Calendar to help you with your scheduling. But when we start getting into, okay, we're going to use Constant Contact for our email marketing, and we're going to use Vistaprint for our postcard marketing, and we're going to use Google Calendar for our Google or for our scheduling and everything. There's so many apps and so many things going on that it just becomes difficult to keep up with everything. So we want to find that streamlined thing. And QuickBooks is a great accounting solution. I mean, it can do a lot of stuff, especially I know MB was on a few months ago with Notify and talking about job costing and everything. And now that we have projects in QuickBooks, it really helps a little bit with the job costing and everything. But QuickBooks wasn't designed to be that all-in-one system to help us with that communication, to help us with that email marketing and the scheduling and everything there, because they were designed to service everyone, not just one niche market. So that's when we start looking for these add-on apps that I'm sure that a lot of y'all are used to looking at and trying to find something that benefits you and your customers. And there's a lot of different applications out there. And my number one rule of thumb is if it's not an approved QuickBooks app that we can't find on apps.com, there's a reason why it's not. And I will research into why they may not be approved, but you want to have that approved. So I always like to go to apps.com first and look there, because that approved tells me that they've passed by into its rigorous standards. It's just like I always tell my clients, there's always a it's like Google Play Store versus the App Store. Google Play, almost anyone can get on there, and how many different viruses and apps are out there that really aren't supposed to be there, but there's not a good system there, whereas Apple is very particular with everything. So that apps.com is basically like your app store, and they're scanning it to make sure that it's a safe app to integrate with QuickBooks and work with everything. So we want those.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I've never heard it explained that way, James. So you're saying apps.com is kind of like your Apple apps.
Yeah, that's how I see it. It's a more secure solution, because a lot of people say that they will integrate with QuickBooks. And
Right.
just because they integrate doesn't mean that it's a safe integration. And we want that safe integration on our end.
That's right, because anybody can sign up for a developer account with QuickBooks. They can't connect to your account without your approval. But if they're not vetted by Intuit, then we don't know that they meet all of the standards that Intuit sets for their third-party partners that are on apps.com. So totally right there with you, James. That is a best practice to always go to the App Store, I think anyway.
I agree. Now, I am an Android fan, so that's a whole different debate. I get it, but I liked your analogy, so I didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
Not a problem at all.
And I'm team iPhone, so.
So am I. I've got the whole office is Macs, iPads, so. But when we get into these apps, the things that I really want to work for, because we've got so much functionality behind QuickBooks for the general day-to-day bookkeeping, what we're looking for is that customer relation side of things. So we want something that's going to help us with letting our customers know about what's going on, helping us email and work with customers there, sending out postcards for us, and scheduling your teams for what's going on and everything, so that you have a schedule there to work with them on. It just really gives you an all-in-one solution there. And that's why with the field service apps, you see here the workflow that works well for you, the collaboration between you and your team, and being able to talk between the team even when they're in the field, or even just having the customer being able to easily contact you. The communication between you and the customer, the visibility that your customer is constantly seeing, getting that notification, the follow-up emails, all of that, because it's putting it back in their minds. And for our home service pros and our field service workers, what's really important for them is that follow-up business. Your HVAC guy, where they make their money, is gaining a loyal following, someone that when the AC goes out, they're the first ones that they call. So it's all about that customer service to keep them on that loyal following. So that's what we really want to work with. Now, when we say home service pros, I was going to move on to the next slide.
Well, can I just interject, because I just love what you said so much. You're advising your clients on how to improve their customer experience, and I love that, because that's what defines a trusted advisor. A strategic advisor is actually stepping, not only helping with the accounting and the finances, but also looking at the other needs of their business and being that part of their team that's going to guide them in other directions as well. And I just love that so much.
Absolutely.
And I loved the thing that you said, which, I mean, this is even true for us, as bookkeepers, accountants, as pro advisors. The thing that we want to make sure that we're doing is giving good customer service. And so they're going to pick up the phone and call us if they had a good customer experience. And that can be just something little. Mm-hmm. But, it's the thing that makes them pick up the phone and call us again or not.
It's that personal touch that really helps with these guys. So, and that's in any field, but especially in that home service pro and the field service field. And when we say home service pro, obviously you've got kind of these natural ones that come to your mind: your plumbers, your electricians, your house cleaners, those that are kind of coming to your house, working with you, doing that kind of thing, because they're at your house. But there's also some things, we're moving into a more digital era, a more mobile era. So we don't have to just limit it to that normal home service pro. There's a lot of pet groomers that are running their pet grooming service out of their vehicles. They get a van and they use the van for pet grooming. They can use a home service pro and be kind of treated like a home service pro. IT support. How many people have called tech support or the geek guys or whatever the current one is to come to their house to help set up the TV or because they have issues? there's a lot of barbers and beauticians that are going house to house. So it's not just like your tradespeople that we're talking about with other apps, because there's so many different people. If you're on the road, if you're moving around, if you're not in one particular place, this is what is applicable to you. You want to go on to the next slide, Heather? So kind of in the old world, and I know there's a few animations on this one, so you might have to click on it. Old world, and these are kind of the important things we're dealing with, is kind of our communication with our customers, being able to quickly and easily invoice, because we're on the road, we're not in front of a computer, so it's not easy to invoice. We want something like QuickBooks Online. We got the app that we can put on our phone and look at it that way and invoice through the phone. But that's a whole nother app. So we want to be able to have that communication with the customers on top of that invoicing, on top of the tracking jobs and your estimates and following up with all of that stuff there. We want to be able to understand our sales of, but sometimes we need more sales specific information, which is where these add-on apps like Housecall Pro come in for us. And then also tracking both your income and expenses in real time. A lot of this stuff we can do with QuickBooks Online, but that communication with the customer, the texting back and forth, the emails, that stuff, QuickBooks doesn't really help us too much there. Understanding the sales graphically, QuickBooks kind of has that, but it's a separate add-on app, whereas Housecall Pro includes that in and of itself. It's not two separate applications. It's one thing in and of itself. And then tracking those jobs and estimates. So when we move into kind of this more digital era, we kind of move into that texting our customers. We want to text them and talk to them about what's going on, let them know that we're on our way, stuff like that. Invoicing while you're in the field. So before you even leave the customer's house, whether they're there or not, we want to be able to, if they're there, invoice them and accept payment. If they're not there, we want to send an email to them so that we get paid as quickly as possible. And a lot of these home service pros, they're on an older system where they were using pen and paper. And in the field, they're using this pen and paper, taking down all these notes, and they're throwing it in their truck. And it's just a mess in their truck. And they come back to the office, and the office manager has to key all this stuff in. So it's double entry too there, where they have to write all this stuff out. Then the office manager's having to key it all in, and then they send the invoice after the fact. So it's going to be probably a day delay before you actually get all that information. So we really want that instantaneous going on, where before you leave the job site, the customer has the invoice and you're not losing that paperwork order. And then the integration with QuickBooks really helps, again, with that double entry. You're not having to take that paper invoice that is all crumpled up and might be wet and you can't read or might be torn, and having to enter that into QuickBooks and after you've deciphered it, because I've seen some of those, trust me, and they are difficult to decipher. So it's not only beneficial to our owners who are in the field or the guys who are actually in the field, but it's also beneficial to our the office managers that are actually staying in the office and having to deal with all this.
You know, I'm going to say, yes, I'm all in with you. I completely agree. All of our guys that are out in the field or girls that are out in the field, man, sometimes when they're handwriting tickets, that is so hard to read. And when you're in a rush, I know that this is really true of myself. The more rushed I am, or the more that I feel like somebody's watching me, my handwriting gets so much worse. And suddenly it's like, what did I write? I don't know. So it's a mystery, especially if you've got a back office that you've got to take that paper ticket back to say, hey, can you decipher this?
Right.
And decode it and be able to like create some type of invoice. It's not a job that anybody enjoys. And so that by itself makes it where it's sometimes pushed off time-wise and it's no longer.
I would also, I would also say, Liz, when I have receipts in my purse or whatever, if I'm really busy, or I can't, we hear this once and done thing now, right? That's like the big buzzword of this kind of era is once and done. You do something once, it's done, and you can walk away and focus on something else. And apps like Housecall Pro allow us to do that, right? Because we're dealing with the receipt, we're at the customer site, we can create the invoice, and we don't have to worry about doing it later. We've already done it, so we can move on to the next task at hand. And I think that gives our clients and us peace of mind as well.
Absolutely. And the other thing to really think about there is with these paper invoices, when you're having to send them a day later, you're not at the top of the client's mind or the customer's mind anymore. Now, time's passed, they're not going to be as quick to pay you. They're not going to be as concerned to pay you. And even if that's not the case, if you lose an invoice, that's $100+ that you could be losing right there. And we don't want to lose that money. We want all that money we can so that we can continue to grow the business and reinvest in the business so that we can grow it for them. And so that finding these applications that allow them to grow their business and get rid of any human error. That's what we want.
And, I mean, so get rid of all of it. Well, let's at least eliminate it. I mean, or reduce it. Let's reduce it because, it's like us, the field workers, they're busy too. They're thinking about dinner. They're thinking about what else do they have going on. And any place that you can post-it notes, stick it somewhere to be able to say, this is what I was doing, this is that activity, or just go ahead and finish the task and invoice it. Any of that stuff that you can just get finished so that way your brain can now think about the next task, I'm all for.
Yes. So Heather, if we can go on to the next slide. So the one thing that I really talked about is that graphical display of your jobs and that streamlined workflow management. And just like with QuickBooks, Housecall Pro has an app. And when we get on that app, it's going to show us an overview of what our company is looking like in graphical display, but it's also going to let us take a look at everything. And if you take a look at this phone right here, this is pulling up a job right here. And when you get to the job, you're able to let the customer know that you're on the way. You're able to, and when you click that on my way, it's not only letting the customer know that it's on your way, so it's helping the customer, but it's also helping you as a company because it's marking down that travel time has started. When you click that start time, now you're able to go ahead and go in there and say that travel time's ended and the job's begun. So this gives us actual job timing and everything works, and we have job time in here. We have specific date stamps and time stamps on here. And when the customers get there and we're there, before we even start the job, you'll see this little approve button up here. So before they even start the job, the tech in the field can pull out this phone and say, okay, this is your invoice. This is what we're doing for you. Do you approve this? And they can sign it. And that way you've got a signature there to say, yes, even if they come back with you saying, well, you said you would do this and you didn't. Well, now you've got a signature saying that this is what we said we would do, and you signed it saying, yes, that's what we're going to do. So it protects you and your clients really more than anything. And you're able to handle that sending of the invoice and payment of the invoice all through that phone in the field so that you're not going to have to worry about it. When you finish that job, it's in QuickBooks. You don't have to worry about going back to the office and inputting into QuickBooks. It's just automatically there already for you, no double entry. No. And then when we go ahead and open,
So I was just going to go ahead and say, so one of the things that you're showing right here is you're showing the workflow. If you were going out to the field, you were performing the work for your customer, and then you were actually taking payment out in the field. But you can also take payment later in the office. So you have choices there, because Murph has joined us, and so that was one of his questions was, do you have flexibility in where you're invoicing? Because not everybody's equally aware of everything that's going on inside of a pricing model.
Yes. So when we do that, William, it's all we have to do is when we click finish, it doesn't send it to the office or send it to the customer. It just finishes the job. So you could tell the guys in the field that you just want to finish the job, and then the office will handle reviewing all that information and actually send the invoices to everyone. And in that email or even text message that the customers get, they can actually pay for that invoice through the email so that you don't even have to call them. So it doesn't have to be handled while you're in the field. It can be handled later on. The other thing that I really want to talk about here is this dashboard, and you'll see the computer monitor behind it, and it's just a sampling of all the graphs that you get on your dashboard with Housecall Pro. And you have a job board here. So you see, you can modify that job board to see where you've made sales over years, over days, over weeks, just kind of like we had the sales chart in QuickBooks, but it's just really nice and shows you everything there. Beyond that, as soon as you log in, you can see how many paid invoices you have and how many invoices are actually due, so that you know that you're having to follow up on that stuff and actually get information. You can tag your jobs so that you can see where most of your stuff is coming from. So if most of your jobs are coming from referrals, now you know you really want to work on your referral marketing. If most of it's coming from Angie's List, you want to go ahead and work with Angie's List, stuff like that. The other thing that you really can't see here, is because it's behind the phone, is a sales leaderboard. If you've got multiple employees in the field and you want to do a sales leaderboard where it tracks who's making the most sales, it tracks that for you so that you can then reward the employees, because ultimately one of the good things for these reward their employees for making more sales, because they're going to be encouraged to provide better service and be requested as the tech or stuff like that, so that we can go ahead and get that $100 gas gift card at the end of the month, or that dinner out at Ruth Chris's, or whatever might be the company prize, because now they have encouragement to help better the company.
I love that. I didn't realize that you were able to do that, because one of my things is people love games, and I think that anytime that you can have a playful way to engage with your employees, to be able to say, if you get this many jobs performed and you have quality work, then of course I think you should be rewarded. So that's a playful way to be able to interact with your employees, to encourage them.
And incentives work 100%. When you're trying to empower your team and get your team to step it up, incentivizing or giving them incentives and prizes absolutely 100% works. And I have to say, I love this dashboard. This dashboard is clean. It's not cluttered. It's got useful information, and I'm assuming that it's completely customizable.
You can customize it. You can add extra tiles in here. You can kind of change what the tiles are showing. So Jill can kind of go into a little bit more on that later on if y'all have got some more questions on that, but it's a really nice dashboard and more customizable than what we have in QuickBooks Online, because that we're kind of limited to those 4 or 5 tiles and just the time period. This we can kind of change it up a little bit more and add more tiles in here or change what we're seeing. So that's really the nice thing there. And really one of the biggest tiles here that I like is this estimates. A lot of these people, your HVAC guys, that when they want to go and install a new unit, they're going to send an estimate. Or your electrician, when they need to install a light fixture or rewire a house, they're going to send an estimate. So you have this tile here on that dashboard that tells you how many estimates you've closed, how many are open, and how many you've actually won, so that you can kind of see how much money you're making, and then really try to maybe not push the customers to close those estimates, but come up with ways to go from that 48% winning rate to 98%. Heather, if you want to go on to the next page for me. So one of the things that I talked about a lot was that communication with customers. And to me, this is really near and dear to my heart. When you have someone at your home, it's kind of like a very personal thing, because they might be inside the house and you're not going to be there. Not always. And can you always take time off the road? And you call out the landscaper, and you're not going to be there when they come and do it. You might be there when the electrician is there or when the AC guy is there, but not when the landscaper is there or when the house washer is there or when the window washer, stuff like that. That allows even your HVAC guys and your electricians to be there and let you know that they're there without having to specifically be there. And tell you that they're there, because when you click that On My Way button, it's going to go ahead and tell you that someone is on the way, and it will send you a picture of who is on the way so that you know who to expect. So for me, I've got my mother at home and I schedule a lot of stuff for her, and I like to know who's going to be there because I'm not going to be home when she's there. Works out really great there. It's going to send you a text message when the job is scheduled. It's going to give you a window for that arrival, or it's going to give you a specific time so that all that works. It's going to let you know when the job is done so that you know that they're not at the house anymore. So it gives you that reassurance. And it's not just the one-way text communication. It is two-way. So the app can text the customer, but the customer can also text back, and it goes to that actual text phone through the app, and they can text back and forth with the customer without ever giving away their personal number, so that they have security and peace of mind as the tech that they're not going to be giving away that information and giving away anything that someone can now call them at 12 a.m. in the morning because their AC went out, because it's all protected by that application, and it's a random phone number that they can communicate back and forth with, but it's just, again, a protection that reassures your customer. It's that extra level of
it's security.
Service and customer support there.
You're right. It is. So there's a couple and say this is unique, and it has adopted to the way that we communicate with each other. So when you're talking about exactly what you said, that you may not always be home, and maybe the first time you meet the lawn guy, but then several times that they come back, you're gone. Or if you're just inside, it's just a way to be able to look at your phone and smile and go, okay, I know that person. Or there's just, if you've had a nice conversation with that person, it's just a little bit of another way to communicate and tie that customer to you to say that you've engaged with them. I really like this. And the part of the piece that you don't have to give away, the technician doesn't have to give away their personal cell phone number, that's a win for them too. So I really like it. This is a win-win for me.
Absolutely.
Is that your technician saying I'm coming?
Yes. No. And the other thing, as you said, we have gotten very used to a texting place. We don't call each other as much. We don't email as much because email isn't as quick. We don't look at email as much. We don't see email as much. So we can send these invoices and everything to our customer through email, but we can also elect to send the invoices to the customers through text message, and they can pay for that invoice through text message. So now they're not having to go to their email. It's right there in front of them, and it's on a device that you are checking constantly. I mean, for me, I've got my phone here. I'm looking at probably notifications coming in on my phone way more than I need to, but when a notification comes in on my phone, I'm looking at it. When a notification comes in by email, I'm like, okay, I'll get to that in a few minutes. I'll get to that in a few hours, something like that. So it also gives you the ability to work with your clients there and tell them, hey, by texting this information, you're more likely to get paid faster.
Yeah. Yep, I like all parts of this. And I like even, so the one-time thing where you're saying, hey, maybe the plumber's coming and they need to do one fix in the drain and you've never met them before, it's a way to be able to connect with them the first time. And then if it's a repeat service technician, to be able to stay engaged with them. So I think this is one of the huge wins. And, you know, we work with, Heather and I have talked to several different field service management apps. And I think that this one handles this customer service piece, at least what I've seen, the best.
Yeah, I think so too. This brings it to a different level. It makes it very personal.
And that's really why I love Housecall Pro so much, because just like we want to work so well with our clients and treat them as customers and get them that customer service side of thing, they are on that same board with us, and they're trying to provide that same level for our clients to their customers. On to the next page. So with everything, a little bit too far, back one. With everything while she's getting back there, we we talk about all the time with the automated follow-up and sending postcards and sending emails to get that repeat drive business. And that's really what we want with these guys. And with Housecall Pro, you can get out an automatic email after so many days, and you can set up a schedule of emails to get a review, because for these home service pros, it's important to have reviews. Even if you have bad reviews are better than no reviews. And one thing that we always look at here that I tell my guys, you want a few bad reviews. You want them mostly to be good, but if you see a review with all 5-star reviews and it's 10 5-star reviews, people are generally going to look at that not as highly as they are with someone who's got a few partially negative reviews. That partially negative review helps tell people that these are real reviews. So we want to get those reviews from our customers and ask them to review our service and talk about our service and tell us how we did. And then if we did something wrong, and then for our HVAC guys, twice a year, cleaning out your AC or making sure that it's good, or your plumber comes out water heater reminder saying, hey, it's time to work on your AC water heater or something like that. Now you're back at their forethought, and they may not call you. But if an issue comes up, recently contacted them, and so they're going to be more likely to contact you. So that's the big thing there that I really like about it.
That's interesting that even a bad review is better than no review, and that sometimes it makes people think, oh, it wasn't just mom and dad who were writing reviews. It was true, genuine feedback. And what was interesting is it made me, I hadn't quite thought about it that way, but there are times whenever I'll read a restaurant review and I have an emotional reaction where I'm like, well, maybe you just don't like taco salad.
Absolutely.
It's still good. You should have ordered. So it's funny that you said that. I actually had an emotional reaction to it. You're right. Reviews are just reviews, and
they are.
The better they are, the better it is for you. But genuine feedback is good.
Yes. And when we get those reviews, even if it's a bad review, if you follow up with a response, if you work with your clients and tell them, follow up with a response, tell them that we're sorry, please let us call you, or please give this, and make it personal. Don't make it just a generic thing. Now, when people are reading those reviews, when they see a bad review, they're going to see that, oh, these people actually care. Maybe the customer was just, like you said, they didn't like taco salad. And they're actually trying to make it right.
And I think, James, one of the things that I tell, for our ProAdvisor profiles, we now have the ability to now respond to reviews. And what I tell people is that, if somebody leaves you a really bad review, that you want to be thinking about not only, your response to that person for that review, but you want to be thinking about everybody else before you respond, right? So if somebody leaves a review that you disagree with or you think is unfair, our guttural reaction is to say, you were wrong, that, I was the greatest service provider ever. But I think that response has to be, I care about you as a customer, because it's not, yes, you're responding to the customer, but you're also responding to the rest of the world. And how you respond to that is how you're going to be perceived by, your future potential clients, right?
Yes. So the other thing that we kind of went over this current slide with visually understanding sales, but the other thing I really want to harp on before we kind of get into questions is that integration with QuickBooks, and the fact that with Housecall Pro, it automatically integrates, and whenever you finish a job, the invoice is in QuickBooks, so that us as the Pro Advisors, we can go back and see when that job is done. And now we don't have 100 people in QuickBooks messing up QuickBooks and screwing things up, and we have a ton of work because most everyone is in Housecall Pro, because not everyone is going to need access to QuickBooks now, because everything's really being done on the customer side of things through Housecall Pro. So us as the Pro Advisor, it's us and the owners and maybe the office manager. so that we know who's in there, and we know that who's in there is going to let us do our job. And the invoices are automatically pushed over. And that includes all of the sales items, and they map into our general ledger accounts. The payments are automatically pushed over, and we see whether it's a cash payment or a check payment, and the check gives us what check number it was. If it's a credit card payment, then the credit card payment pushes over. And Housecall Pro has a credit card processing system that is wonderful in the fact that you don't even have to go in and make a bank deposit. You can go in and they automatically do that bank deposit for you, and they take out the funds and everything, or the service charge for that credit card all in one step, so that the client isn't having to worry about that, and you as the pro advisor don't have to worry about it because it's done for you. And then when it comes in on the bank feed, you match it.
Okay, all right, so that's another like backup point. Say it like what? I love that part. And so one of the, this is a special edition of Appy Hour, and we have James with us because he is using Housecall Pro, and he's able to share that side of it. He's using it, he understands it. And so whenever I hear you say things like, it's finishing up the bookkeeping for you, that's huge. So that's the thing that, whenever we're talking about using these tools, I'm always saying, does it act like another department? Does it act like an extension of that department? That's like, those are the wins. Whenever it's segregated, that's whenever I'm like, well, that was a really nice shiny app, but that didn't actually help our processes. What you just said is huge. Being able to go from the field to the bookkeeping, and now all pieces of it have been automated. That's whenever we start saying, okay, we're saving time, and we can expand our services and grow without needing to hire a bunch of people to figure out what so-and-so hand wrote on their ticket. Yes. And then hope for the money to come in.
For us as pro advisors, it's saving us time. And when we save time as pro advisors, we're able to provide more value to our clients and provide that insightful value adding, not just the bookkeeping, because bookkeeping isn't about okay, let's classify all these transactions. It's about analyzing all the transactions and figuring out where we were this month compared to last month, et cetera, and how we can make the business better. So when we're saving time as pro advisors, now we're able to come back in and take that time that we save and give it back to the customer in a value added way that's going to benefit them, which is what I love about it. So from there, I think we can, and I talked about all of the automated follow-up with the email and everything. So any questions that we have?
I don't see any. I've just kind of been throwing mine at you as we're going along. And some of the questions we've been asked, we've answered. There was one question that looks like, and doing a little bit more of a demo here in just a second, but let me go ahead and just throw this out there to make sure we cover it. But Mark asked us, can this handle material purchases from a hardware store, for example, mileage? So he's also throwing in, are you able to add in different expenses, time, material, whatever, and then push that onto the invoice and then ultimately send it to QuickBooks?
So Jill might know a little bit more. In my experience, it's with how Housecall Pro works currently, and I know they're doing a lot of reevaluation of the app with the feedback they've gotten from me and other pro advisors in the partner program. Currently, it's a one-way integration. So after we start that initial import and export from information from Housecall into QuickBooks and vice versa, after that, any information put into Housecall goes into QuickBooks, but any information put into QuickBooks does not go into Housecall. That's currently the case, and I know that I've made some comments on that, and Jill will probably be able to speak a little bit more on that in a few minutes. But the other thing there is Housecall was designed for that invoicing and customer management side of things. So Housecall itself is not going to handle the actual expenses and everything. All of that will still be done through QuickBooks for you. They're just handling the income side of things.
And now we have the amazing receipt capture in our mobile app for QuickBooks Online, so they can take a picture of the receipt, and that's going to go right to QuickBooks. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can handle more of the tracking of what they're using in the field. So if you go to the hardware store and you pick up a part and you pass that cost on to your customer, you would track that in the actual invoice and charge the customer for it.
Heather, I think you're muted.
Oh yeah, you were muted.
I was muted.
So what insight were you giving us?
Well, muting because it's a little loud in here, and I didn't want you guys to have to hear all the things going on around me. But Jil, welcome to Appy. We're so excited to have you. You want to just take a quick second to introduce yourself, and then we're going to raise a toast. I'm super excited about the drink. I've got my drink right here, and I'm super excited to taste it.
Good. I'm Jil. I work currently at Housecall Pro. I've been here almost since the beginning, so going on 4 years when we really started into the software sales piece of it. Right now, I'm currently building our partner program. I work very closely with James. He is amazing, as you guys can tell. And what our partner program is that I'm building an ecosystem of resources for our pros to help their business, to help them grow, to help them overcome barriers in adopting software or just growing. We all know that, home service professionals, they like to go out and do the work. They want to fix furnaces and, unclog drains. And then this is where we come in to have them kind of think more about the business side of it. And that's where our awesome partners come in, because they have the expertise on, things you should be doing in your business, when you should be thinking about doing those things. So it's also been a fun journey. I love helping people. And now I just get to do it on a bigger scale.
So, Jil, I have to tell that QuickBooks Connect, some of the people that are joining us today were also at QuickBooks Connect.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you came over and said hi to me, I was just thrilled with that. So, it's at this point, meeting via Zoom or web, being able to say hey and hug. I mean, you're just a kind, genuine person. So
thank you. You ladies are too.
No, it was nice to actually say hello, and you just grabbed me. I was like, hey. So I loved it. It was cool.
All right, so
oh, here it is.
We've got the Housecall blue collar.
Okay, all right, let me see yours.
Okay, I've got mine right here. Well, yours is pretty, super pretty.
Ooh.
All right, I'm gonna take a sip. So cheers to Housecall Pro.
Cheers.
Tequila.
Oh, it's really good. Really yummy.
Ooh. I love the name of it too. I think that's so playful.
It is super playful. So it's very, very good. I love the drink name. Super creative.
Sometimes Heather and I create those names, but whenever we have, an app that says we want to be in on that too, that's whenever it's really fun. And so I think it's fun that you named it the blue collar, Housecall blue collar.
I love it.
The app is blue. It's so appropriate.
Inspired by our users. They go out and they work hard, and they are kind of like the backbone of America. So cheers to them as well.
I love that.
You're here.
We want to make it easier for everybody.
Yes.
Absolutely. All right, so I'm going to advance to the next slide, and just keep telling me when to advance, Jil, and we'll,
Just want to talk a bit about Housecall Pro. We are the #1 rated by home service professionals across the review sites down at the bottom. And like James has said, yes, we sell software, but we really like to see our businesses succeed and grow. It's not just about, using the software, it's about being successful. So we invest a lot in our users outside of just the software. Just to name a few of the things, we're heavily invested in the community. We do community events. We have a mastermind event where we travel around to cities and invite our pros to come and learn about hiring, leadership, review generation, online booking. We just launched a Lady Pro campaign, and what Lady Pros are, they are the women who are out in the field working or in the office running the business. And it's a lot of women. And we want to highlight the Lady Pros and the work that they are doing. We're actually having an all-lady pro mastermind in Dallas in November. Would love for you ladies to come. So that's just two of the things that we're doing. We have pro leaders who host mini leadership groups once a month all throughout the United States. And we just launched Website Builder. And what Website Builder is, we are building free websites for home service professionals to increase their online presence. We are really big about, you know, having your customer book online and you never have to talk to them until you're on your way or you want to call and confirm. So those are some things that we do to help our pros increase their business that really doesn't have much to do with the software, because we just really want to see them grow and be successful and, you know, lean amongst each other to share business ideas. So we have this big network, this big ecosystem, and it's where we all help everybody.
I love that. I am, and I think that's one of the things that I have genuinely, sincerely felt was that. So I'll go ahead and share. One of the things that happened is that we had a situation where we had met with Housecall Pro and we kind of talked about doing this episode, and we kind of, Heather and I kind of vet the apps and go through it. And one of the things that happened was right after our phone call, one of our team members said, I have a new client that's using Housecall Pro and I don't know anything about it. Can you help me? And I said, oh my gosh, well, let's go ahead and connect you with the right people. So immediately got them connected to Jil, and Jil was like on it and then connected them to the next level person. And so they were served really, really well, really fast. And so that was great customer service. And then let me share a whole other thing that I haven't even said yet. It's a little wacky. Today, you know, I'm in Dallas right now doing the advanced certification class. And one of the audience participants came up to me and said, so you're talking about point of sale and you're talking about field service management when you're talking about doing some sales receipts, and we're using Housecall Pro. And I was like, whoa. So I didn't tell them to rush out of the advanced certification class to join us. But I did tell them there was going to be this recording. So I mean, I feel like Housecall Pro is definitely, you know, making some waves out there and winning some people over. And this, you know, being #1 rated is probably a big part of that. But you're doing some really cool customer service stuff.
I agree. And you know, one of the things that was really kind of eye-opening for me was, James, your slide about the different users, so the different industries that we may not have thought about, like veterinarians or pet groomers or things like that. And I mean, that opens up a whole, you know, a whole new, I don't know, it opens up a lot more clients that could use Housecall Pro that I hadn't even thought of. So amazing.
And the thing for me, Housecall Pro is really into not just being a software company, like Jil said, and helping their clients and their customers with the masterminds and with how to grow their business, and doing the partner program to connect them with a good accountant, to connect them with someone to help them with SEO, because we all know SEO is a mess, to help them with marketing, stuff like that. So they're behind their clients and their customers, but they're also behind their partners. So when me as a partner, when I need something, I can call in, I can email in, I can talk with them, and they're going to help me. And the masterminds that Jil talked about, they're great for the home service pro person, but me as the partner, I've been to 2 of them now. I've already got on my books to go to 3 more this year. And they help me too, just as a business owner, because they're not talking about Housecall Pro. They're talking about business. They're talking about review generation. They're talking about marketing. They're talking about follow-up service to your customers. And it's business-oriented, not Housecall Pro-oriented, which is the nice thing to me, is the fact that they're not just going after, hey, we're Housecall Pro, use us. Hey, Housecall Pro, Housecall Pro, Housecall Pro. It's how can we help you and make you better?
Well, anytime that we see that happening, not only does it feel good, as the receiving end of that customer service, but I mean, it really, in the long run, it helps those, partners, because we end up seeing them that way. They're helping us. We're doing the same thing. So you're saying that you've had that experience with Housecall Pro, but as accountants and bookkeepers, our clients are also feeling that too, because they're not just coming to us for a flat financial statement. They're saying, how can you help my business grow? Or how can you help me connect these apps to QuickBooks, which is our accounting software? But now we have all of these other softwares that aren't accounting. So, I mean, that's the same thing that's happening with us too. And I think it's very fair to say, just like, one of our team members had said, I don't know this app. And then we were able to receive the education. So, I think that it pays back in dividends later.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it all comes back. Okay, I've got 2 questions that have been asked.
Okay.
So I want to go ahead and ask them. And so one of our questions is from Mark. And Mark asked, is this just for QuickBooks Online?
No, we have users who don't use QuickBooks at all, and we introduce them to QuickBooks. We have users that use QuickBooks Desktop. We do only integrate with QuickBooks Online. So you have to, integration, you have to be using QuickBooks Online. Okay,
perfect. And then I've got one other question. And so thank you for answering that one. And then the other question is, so can each truck or each crew be tracked as a location in QuickBooks Online? So I think the question is does Housecall Pro allow you to tie into locations in QuickBooks? So
yes.
That's an integration question.
Yes. And James probably speak more on that, because that's a little bit over my head, because I'm not an accountant or a bookkeeper. But yes, right, James?
So
it does. I'm still kind of working out a few kinks there, but it does integrate that way. And I've mentioned a few things to Jill to make it even better there.
Okay. So that's, that's always great to know. So awesome. Thank you.
Any more questions?
That was it. You just answered. I've been kind of answering them as we've gone along, but those were 2 that I wanted to say out loud.
All right. Well, I will talk a little bit about our Certified Partner Program, which James is about. And our slogan is Learn, Build, Grow. And it's exactly what it means. Like I said, me and James work very closely, and we learn and build and grow both Housecall Pro and his business together. Like I said, I don't have any accounting experience, so I lean on him for that. And then he leans on me for more of the Housecall Pro side and how to work with our pros. So I support him as he support our clients, and he supports me as I work to support our clients as well, which is just a great partnership. Our partner program is fairly new. I call it my baby. It's almost a year old, and it's just very special. Like I said, I've worked in various departments in the organization, and I've been that person that sat down and helped a pro clean up his customer list and his price list before he could use Housecall Pro. So that's kind of what our partner program is about. It's a resource. It's people who our pros can trust. We train you, we vet you, and make sure that you'll provide the same level of service to our pros that we would. We like accountants, and it's just not just accountants and bookkeepers. There are business coaches. There are website design guys and SEO. So it's a variety of different services that a home service professional may need at some point in their business. And Housecall Pro puts their kind of stamp of approval. That's kind of what the logo is. It's like a seal that we trust them, and you can trust them as well to help you in your business. So we're kind of, developing this whole network around supporting our pros in whatever they need in our partner program. So we're always looking for partners. We are a little specific about the type of partners that we want in the program. We do like our partners to have some type of experience with the home service field, just because you will be able to understand the challenges in their day-to-day a lot better if you have that experience. But we're always willing to help and train you. I talk to a lot of accountants like, I want to get into that field. Well, this is kind of the place. We want you. If you want to work with pros, home service professionals, we want to work with you too. And then there's the link to apply for the program, housecallpro.com/partner-program. There you will find out more about the program. You'll see a cool video that James stars in that is centered around our partners.
So in addition to that, what I'm going to do is I have a poll set up so that if our attendees would like to have you or someone from the team reach out to them, they can answer yes, and I will forward along your email information on to Jil, and somebody can reach out to you. So I'm just going to leave that up for a couple of seconds. And I think, Liz, I saw we had another question too.
Oh, okay. Let me look. There are 4 different levels. Not sure which to choose. Okay, so it sounds like we've got somebody who's already going over to the website and saying, okay, now where?
Great. Probably start with the actual certified partner. That is what we've been discussing here. We do have a couple different type of partner types, which is kind of like our referral partner and our integration partners. But if anybody here, they're more than likely interested in the actual certified partner. So you want to click on that one. Either way, they all come to me and my team, and we reach out personally to everybody.
So it sounds like they can really choose any of them, and you're going to say, I'm going to guide you maybe a little bit.
Yeah, because I talk to everybody. I like to know about them and their business, why they want to be a part of the program. So no matter which one they choose, they'll all come back to me, and we will talk and make sure that it's a good fit.
Awesome.
Okay, well, so we are coming up at the end of the hour, and so I just want to make sure that, okay, you got the poll out, Heather.
I got the poll out, and I think, is there anything else that you'd like to add, Jil? I know James did an amazing job kind of going through the features and functionality. Is there anything that we absolutely need to know?
I think we covered a lot of it. James did well. That's why I love him so much.
Awesome.
Well done, James.
Yeah. All right. So what we'll do is we just had a quick, we will upload the slide deck. We will also upload the recording of today's session. If you answered in the poll that you'd like to have Jil and her team reach out to you, then we'll go ahead.
Heather, we're getting really bad feedback, so. Yeah. Yep. And then if you just want to advance, so we worked through a lot of our different questions. And so the thing that I'm going to go ahead and throw out there, since Heather's getting some feedback, is Scaling New Heights happened this month. Oh my gosh, wasn't that just, those who were there, I loved going and I loved seeing you there. I think it's really important to stay connected with our peers. It's where I learn some of my best tidbits, and Matthew is saying it was great. It was. And we had Brad, who joined us for the first time ever from Canada. And so it's a really nice time to see everybody, to get some really deep, great education. And that was definitely the coolest thing that we did this month. So if you want to advance it to the next slide. So make sure, we would love to have you follow us on Facebook. No, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. So we definitely need some of those. It's really nice to make sure that we get in front of the people who need us. And so, you know, sometimes that's just through being visible on social. Get in front of the right people. So don't forget to go out, visit the pages. You'll be able to see the things that are coming up for us. And just like interviewing Housecall Pro, we definitely want to have more times where we're having somebody like James come on and sharing the ProAdvisor perspective. I think both are really useful. Sometimes it's really nice to hear Heather and I's thoughts on things, but then having somebody like James come in and share his actual experience is very beneficial. And Julie's saying that scaling new heights is on her bucket list. It should be. And thank you, Diane, for your feedback. Really appreciate that.
Well, Liz and Heather, thank you for having me on. It was a pleasure for me to be here and work with y'all and help talk to y'all about, as you said, my perspective of using the app.
Yes. Thank you too.
I think it's very beneficial. And so we're going to have the cash flow frog is going to be up next. I think that top slide is a little bit off, but we're going to have lien law is what that's going to say. July 9th is lien law. And then we'll have A2X for Shopify. Many of you know that I'm very excited about A2X for Shopify, so I can't wait to have them on to give some more details about that. And then September 24th, we're going to have ADP on. So again, we're going to do this where we're having the ProAdvisor perspective. It's cool to hear our peers. So thank you, ADP. We're going to have the brewery level sponsorship, so we appreciate that. But big thank you to Housecall Pro and our tequila. I mean, I think this is the first. This is the first time we've had tequila.
My choice of drink.
Well done. Well done. So everybody, thank you for joining us. And we will be seeing you soon and getting Appy.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.